up, everyone? We are still here. Sorry about the shutdown. OBS likes to crash in the morning, I guess, for our show, which is highly frustrating. And now it looks like we're on a little bit of a delay, even between the video conference room and the show. So that's unfortunate. Just checking the audio here, everyone. If you can hear us, please say something in the chat so I get confirmation that the stream is okay. Yeah, Edgar, your PC did not break. Mine is a piece of junk. You don't have to upvote again, but I appreciate you doing so. Can you hear us okay? If you can put that in the chat, we'd appreciate it. We're going to go ahead. I'm just going to show the disclaimer slide one more time. For you all, just so you guys know that we aren't giving investment advice, that this is for informational purposes only and not recommendations to buy or sell. We were halfway through our links document before my computer decided to flop. And just so you guys know, there are ways to join up there. The chat, the DLive chat will be brought in here. And you can see that right there. You can follow along with the chat and see that. And then I'm going to go ahead and move this Zoom information. If you go to zoom.us, I'll move it over here and enter that room ID, then that's how you can join us live. I'll move that Zoom back over when we're getting a new lower third pretty soon for this show. I got lower thirds for all of the other shows, including the steaming pile. So let's go back into our links and just keep this going. I'm going to check the chat and make sure people can hear us okay.
Sure. I can.
Okay, Edgar said voice is good. So
all right, thanks, Edgar. Appreciate it. Eminem Shill's Bitcoin. So rapper Eminem has placed Bitcoin in one of his songs. And I thought that was, we're getting mainstream here, right? When people are putting that into their songs for public consumption, Bitcoin is getting exposure.
Right. Then
so
go ahead and toggle your camera.
Oh yeah. Once again.
That is interesting, though. That is true. Once that happens, then hopefully it's just a matter of time after that.
Yeah. So Cardano, there's a couple videos that I saw that were really good. The whiteboard one we talked about on our 2.0 version of the show. Cardano in a nutshell is another good one. I like looking at different sources. I'm sort of an eclectic. I like going different places and getting different opinions on things.
Mm-hmm.
Next link was the crypto ATM market is starting to grow. There's ATM machines out there now that can do crypto, and you can just see them. Yeah, they're just moving into the mainstream. I mean, things are happening, and all these people who say crypto's a flash in the pan, I got news for them. They're wrong.
One of our friends, Patrick Ulrich, who's a live streamer on the Steaming Pile, another show that I'm on here on DLive, and he works for a company in Kentucky, and they're working to get their Bitcoin ATM project off the ground as well. So, and he was saying that the other day that things are starting to pick up. There's starting to be momentum for that. So that's good.
Yeah, it is. We can start. It's starting to saturate the market.
Now, I was talking to someone on YouTube the other day, and I was getting a little frustrated because this person said that Bitcoin was created by the Clinton Foundation, and that they're trying to get everybody to wear the mark of the beast.
That's a whole different discussion.
I just don't know where people get this stuff.
There are numerous videos out there in that area, and we should probably I should probably come on Steaming Pile and we can talk about, because the Charles Hopkins said something that sort of piqued my interest.
Okay.
And that was, he said the Cardano platform is going to have to be designed to recognize its own protocol, which means that, does that mean it becomes self-aware? And if it becomes self-aware, that means artificial intelligence?
Right? Or will it have some back-end programming language that when people make transactions or do things on that blockchain, it knows if it's coming from a different chain or if it is part of the Cardano chain. But I don't know. I'll have to watch the video. That's the second video, right? The Cardano whiteboard is the guy you're
whiteboard,
referencing?
yeah. Very good video. And I'm off here, my camera again. Anyway, so the thing I'm thinking about is Cardano, he was saying Cardano has to recognize its own protocol. So if someone tries to make changes to it, it understands the limitations that they're being placed on any kind of changes. And we'll talk about, coming up, there's some slides on that for talking about how they plan to make it relevant, keep it relevant.
Okay. And I see 2 Cardano in a nutshell links.
Yeah, there's a bigger nutshell, which is a longer version of it, and all of them are good.
Gotcha.
And one of them's short, the other one's a little bit longer. I think the whiteboard is the longest one. The bigger nutshell is the medium one. So,
okay.
But all good information, good speakers that are giving this information out. They did their homework, is what I guess I'm saying.
I like that. And when you say they did their homework, that is a good indicator that they have done their homework.
Right. And what I did was I viewed one video against the one Hoskins done. So it looks like they're drawing from his whiteboard video, but they kept it within the realm of being factual. So.
Okay. Well, let's watch this next video. I'm gonna share it with you, and then we're gonna play it, so that I know that you can also hear the audio, because I don't think. Okay. Oh, you know what? No, I can't do that. It's not. I don't have the screen set up to do that, Chaz. So you're just gonna have to.
That's okay. I just
take my word for it.
Yeah.
So beautifully placed within the slides, though.
Hey, I do my best to get this stuff out there.
All right, everyone. So it's playing out there. Let me know if you can hear this or not. I would appreciate it. I have a new headset, and so things are getting garbled. So if you guys are in chat, just give me a thumbs up that you can hear this video.
To become a global currency. The third generation, however, wants to take the...
Oh man, sorry guys. Sorry guys. I gotta start that over. It just, everything has to be perfect, and so when it's not, things get a little jumbled. So let's start it over.
Right now, there are countless of cryptocurrencies that you can buy, but recently we've seen something called Cardano getting a lot of traction. But why is Cardano so popular all of a sudden?
Guys.
What makes it so special compared to other cryptos?
I gotta start that
well,
over.
Let's find out. Cardano is a new cryptocurrency platform that was launched in September 2017 after more than 2 years of development. It's rather different than other cryptocurrency projects because it is built around peer-reviewed papers. So instead of writing a white paper and implementing it straight to code, the Cardano team actually makes sure that experts from around the world read their papers, improve them, and agree with the outcome. This is a very different way of working. Cardano claims to be the third generation of cryptocurrencies. The first generation was Bitcoin and is essentially digital gold. It's used to transfer and store virtual money, but it's plagued with scalability issues. The second generation started with Ethereum and brought us smart contracts. It improved scalability somewhat, but not enough to become a global currency. The third generation, however, wants to take the previous two generations and improve upon them. Right now, Cardano and IOTA are both considered to be third generation blockchains. Cardano wants to solve three big pain points of the current generation: scalability, interoperability, and sustainability. Let's go over each one. We'll start with scalability, which itself consists out of three problems that have to be solved: transactions per second, network bandwidth, and storage. Transactions per second is the most obvious one. In order for a cryptocurrency to become a global payment system, you need to be able to handle a lot of transactions per second. Cardano's Ouroboros system solves this by adopting proof of stake instead of proof of work. You probably know that Bitcoin uses the proof of work algorithm and lets everyone mine new blocks. This process is slow and not only wastes a lot of computing power, it also wastes huge amounts of electricity. Cardano is much more efficient. It doesn't let everyone mine new blocks. Instead, the network elects a few nodes to mine the next blocks. These are called the slot leaders. So to make this all work, Cardano divides the time into epochs. An epoch is split into slots, a short period of time in which exactly one block can be created. The network then elects a slot leader for each slot, and this is the only person that can mine a block for that particular slot. Slot leaders listen for new transactions, verify them, and then put them inside a block. If a slot leader doesn't complete his task in time or doesn't show up, he loses the right to produce a block and has to wait until he is re-elected by the network. This technique makes Cardano highly scalable because they can increase the amount of slots per epoch and they can run multiple epochs in parallel. The next scalability problem is network bandwidth. Blockchains are stored in a peer-to-peer network. Each node in this network receives a copy of all new transactions. But imagine what happens if there are thousands of transactions per second. The nodes would need a lot of bandwidth to continuously download them all, and that is not very scalable. Instead, Cardano wants to split up the network into subnetworks by using a technique called RENA. Each node will be part of a specific subnetwork and can communicate with other networks if needed, much like the TCP/IP protocol for the internet. And the final aspect of scalability is data storage. Blockchains store all transactions that have ever happened, but how do we handle this ever-growing set of data? The Cardano team is thinking about implementing techniques like pruning, compression, and partitioning. However, they don't consider this a top priority at the moment because storage space right now is still fairly cheap. They'll tackle this problem later in 2018 or beginning 2019. Big problem number 2 is interoperability. This again consists out of two problems. First of all, there are many cryptocurrencies out there, but they don't really work together. And secondly, banks and governments shy away from cryptocurrencies. So the Cardano team assumes that in the future, we won't have one coin to rule them all. Instead, multiple different currencies will exist side by side, each with its own protocol and rules. Right now, these don't talk to each other. You can't, for example, transform your Bitcoin into Ether without an intermediate. The Cardano project aims to be the Internet of Blockchains, or in other words, a blockchain that can understand what happens in other blockchains. This would mean seamlessly moving assets across multiple chains. Then there's also the problem with governments and banks. They shy away from cryptocurrencies because they don't adhere to regular banking laws. It's hard for them to trust a transaction in the crypto world because they don't have any metadata about that transaction. You see, they like to know who made the transaction and for what reason. However, this is also very sensitive information. So the Cardano project wants to allow people to attach metadata to a transaction if they want to. This would make the crypto world play nicer with the traditional banking world. But again, it would be up to the user to decide if he wants that or not. The final problem that the team intends to solve is sustainability. Right now, there are a lot of people who want to build a company around cryptocurrencies. To raise money for their company, they launch an ICO or initial coin offering. After an ICO, the team ends up with a lot of capital that they can use to fully start their company. But what happens if, after a couple of years, this money runs out? How will they make sure that the development of their technology continues? Should they create a new coin and hold another ICO just to get some cash? This is still an unanswered question, but it's clear that raising money just once isn't very sustainable and doesn't promote continuous improvement. Cardano intends to solve this problem by creating a treasury. The idea is that the treasury will receive a small percentage of every transaction that happens on the network. The treasury itself is a special wallet that isn't controlled by anyone. Instead, it's a sort of smart contract that can release a part of the funds to developers who wish to improve the Cardano protocol. To do this, developers have to submit a proposal to the community saying what they want to change and how much money they need for it. The community can then vote on the ideas that they think is the most important. After a certain amount of time, the treasury takes the most popular proposals and gives them enough money so they can develop their improvements. Over time, the treasury model will keep Cardano sustainable by providing a continuous stream of money that can be used to continue to do research and to improve the system. So far, we talked about all the things that the Cardano project wants to achieve, and as you can see, it's quite ambitious and maybe a little bit risky. They are trying to tackle many challenging problems. Take the treasury model, for instance. It depends on a fair voting system to prevent people from seizing control. The Cardano project is very young and has still a long way to go, but their way of working is very different from other cryptocurrencies. So Cardano might be the project that finally solves some long-standing and fundamental issues, but time will tell. So that concludes this video. I hope you learned a lot, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
All right. That was a good little overview of the project.
I thought that, given the complexity of the project, I think that he did a really good job of doing it succinctly.
Yeah. And thank God that Steam was on there as one of the interoperable blockchains listed.
Yes.
Or our viewers and any potential viewers that haven't heard of us yet on the Steam blockchain would have been not so nice to us in the comments.
Yeah.
But thank you all for watching. That was the intro to Cardano. We're going to go and finish the rest of the introduction to the coin. Charles is going to fix his camera, and then we're going to talk about the partnership.
Yeah, so Cardano's made up of 3 entities. The partnership is a Cardano Foundation. The input-output studio, it's like a cryptocurrency studio, and eMerge, which is another partner in the business. It's a commercial ventures business. So they're working, and this is an open source deal. They're working with people there. And I guess part of this what I want to explain is that they're doing this through the writing papers. They're getting peer review. So they're putting their stuff out there and they're getting peer reviews on it, just like you would do a research paper. Mm-hmm. And people are giving their input on it and they're making adjustments. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to refine their project to make it work. And they test it. And they will tell you they use science to do all this.
Do you know the types of peer-reviewed papers that they are reviewing and that they're looking for to be a part of that, like, kind of base of the platform?
I don't know how they put them out. I don't know what platform they're using, but if you go to their website, they list all their papers, and they got a bunch of them.
Oh, I just wondered, like, what types of papers, like, what topics did they cover?
Or security, sustainability, the Ouroboros protocol. I mean, they put it all out there, all the sections.
I'm wondering, especially, and I'm wondering if they're going to be curating or soliciting white papers from each of the blockchains as well. So, for example, with With Steam, Steam is that they're going to have their hive mind and their smart media token stuff done and implemented on the blockchain soon, preferably, or I think that they want to have that wrapped up by end of Q1 of 2019. So I'm wondering if those dApps that are going to be writing SMT protocols on the Steam blockchain will also, or could also, submit them to Cardano to make sure that they're working on interoperability issues over there. I don't know.
They are, I'm sure that Ethereum was mentioned many times
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of the paperwork or papers I looked at and videos. So they are looking at making a platform that all blockchains can work through.
Gotcha.
And I'm not sure, of course, they're not there yet. And so I don't know what their protocol is going to be for doing that, how they're going to achieve that, because all blockchains are, some are the same, but many of them are very different.
Gotcha. And Edgar, one of our audience members, said that Hoskinson is a super smart guy. Saw him at last year's ADA meetup, I think it was, or the ADA. So, and that's the second. He said it's the second project besides Steam that he's invested in.
Yeah, it's Hoskins is God. He's a smart guy, and he presents himself well.
So we're looking at a list of issues to be considered here within the tool.
Yeah, I mean, some of those I divided up and put under different categories, but the thing is, it's a scalability. They talked about, I think the video did a good job of talking about scalability and that, and how the epochs, the slots work, the epoch time periods, and that they're able, what I really thought was great is they can do side chains, or they can run those epochs parallel to increase the amount of volume on their system. So I thought that was a very wise thing to do. It's sort of like adding lanes on the highway, so you can move more traffic. And you get more throughput that way. Identity verification. This was an interesting one, I thought, because the identity problem is that because of the way the blockchain started out, the whole thing was being anonymous was the important thing, that you could do transactions without people following you around and keeping track of what you're doing. But now there's a problem with that if you want to work with traditional financial institutions and projects, because they need that information. They need to know who you are, what you're doing, why you're doing it, the know your customer process, as well as where the money came from. And I worked in banking for a long time, and one of the things was if somebody brought in a large sum of money, let's say it's $10,000, you got to fill out a form for that and explain where the money came from, who did it belong to. Yep. And if it's under 10, if you try to circumvent the system and do $9,999.99, there's a suspicious activities report you have to fill out.
Okay.
And that is done by the bank. So if you come in and try to, smoosh, get underneath the radar, you still get caught.
Right.
All those processes have to be reconciled between the blockchain and the traditional financial institutions. And that's what they're working on doing.
Okay.
You can select.
And I also, and I like the part in there where they said, and you can choose to interact with financial institutions or not as an individual, but we're doing our due diligence so that if people want to, they can.
Yes. Yeah. So if you choose to make that transfer to a bank and they need information, their idea is that you can release that information to the bank, but only to the bank.
Yeah. And your camera.
Oh, is it locked again?
Yep.
We're just having a great day.
Gotta love it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. You guys can look above and see that Zoom ID number. That's the room you can use to call, join, and comment live, or you can just chat on the D Live platform, and we'll bring it in.
Okay, so working with the banks, you're going to have different information. You should be able to select who gets it, and it should be hidden until it gets to the destination.
Okay.
Sustainability. There's one thing that Charles talked about in the video on the whiteboard was that eventually, it's like he was saying, the mining of Bitcoin, the rewards are dropping off and they're being reduced all the time. Pretty soon there's not going to be any rewards. He says there needs to be a remedy for things like that. And you need to have an ongoing funding of the project. If you do an ICO and you get a lot of money in at one time, what happens when that's not available anymore?
Yeah. And I agree, right? But that's why ICOs and ITOs and all that kind of stuff, not only in the blockchain world, but also in business, is your business also has to have a sustainable aspect to it as well. And so if you can't or don't, that's another thing.
So they want to institute mechanisms for that. In the Treasury, as it's discussed in the video that we saw, about voting on projects. So if someone has a project where they want to promote Cardano or add something to it, you submit a application or project review. The token holders look at it and vote on it, and if it's voted on sufficiently, then you get money.
Gotcha. Okay, right, and that's good, and I think that's definitely a best practice way to do it in a decentralized blockchain is allowing people to submit proposals and get voted on by token holders and also be peer reviewed.
Right, and the transactions on the Cardano chain will refund or re-up the treasury. More money will come in. So they'll take part of the transaction costs and put that in the treasury.
Okay. Good deal. Next.
Yeah, there was another, I think part of the interoperability was their attempt at doing a internet that would be able to work between different blockchains.
Mm-hmm.
And so I found this on the Wikipedia, which I thought explained it pretty well. It says the current architecture just provides two scopes, data link and global. However, the layer 4 is just implemented in the hosts. Therefore, the network side of the internet ends at layer 3. This means that current internet is able to handle a network with heterogeneous physical links, but it is not designed to handle heterogeneous networks, although this is supposed to be its operation. To be able to do it, it will require an internet work scope, which is now missing, and that RENA is supposed to remedy that issue.
Wow. Okay. Some of that's over my head. A lot of that's over my head, but I can understand enough to know that something that should be there isn't, and that there are groups out there working on it to make sure that it is a reality. Thank you, Patrick, for your output and for tuning in. We appreciate it. And Chaz is going to fix his camera, and we're going to go to the next slide. Unless you had anything else on the RENA remedy.
Just one comment about one of the platforms we covered earlier this year was Polkadot, which is attempting to be an interoperable project between blockchains.
Right.
So they're not the only ones working on this.
Yeah, and you know what? These guys aren't the only ones working on peer-reviewed papers. The other one that we covered was doing papers for science and higher education.
Right.
Remember that off the top of my head, but having trouble.
The next slide is just sort of reiterating
the scaling problems.
Yeah, the scaling problems, and that they need to rethink the architecture, and that's what RENA is about.
Well, Patrick is watching, and he's a Bitcoin maximalist. So we'll see. We'll see what he has to say as we're going forward.
Yeah.
And if he's ever heard of Cardano and what they're doing. Are you going to speak to any of these scaling approaches?
No, I'm
just
not.
Solving the problem? Okay.
Yeah, I think the previous slide really handled most of that. The layers thing is they're trying to create layers so that you can have, and this is why we talked about and what was it, avionic, about having ERC20 contracts that you could have multiple contracts where they would work on each other trying to do complicated transactions. Maybe one contract cancels the other, but here what they've done is they've given you a settlement layer and a computational layer. And the standalone blockchain is powered by actual ADA token. Ouroboros allows the features such as delegation and side chains. That's that extra lane on the highway. And then the computational layer. Go ahead, John, you got some?
No. Nope.
I'm just going to really quickly, this is where information is contained in the settlement layers, processed, computed in particular transaction, never touches nor waits on CSL layer except for a reference point if necessary. So they're not attached, they're running independently.
Okay.
And also runs an implementation of Ouroboros, which allows for both permissioned and permissionless ledgers via token distribution. So they're trying to put enough flexibility into the system that they can make it run fast and get enough information to whoever it's going to actually complete the transaction.
So the settlement layer is the CSL, current settlement layer, and then the CCL is the current computational layer?
Yeah, so the settlement layer is the token, the value layer.
Okay. So it never touches so the computation layer never touches or waits on the CSL layer except for when a reference point is necessary. And runs the outburrows for permission and permissionless ledgers via token distribution, and the tokens can be designed for different ledgers subject to custom protocols.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting that you can use a custom protocol in the system. So in the one part in there, it says it allows usage from regulated entities in industry. So we're talking banking and other types of financial industries.
Patrick, did I say something wrong? You said, don't you know who I am? Did I mess it up? Let me know. And Edgar said, have you guys heard of the staking profits calculator within Cardano? It said it should be at the start of 2019 starting working.
Yeah, I saw that. I did not, I was really overwhelmed by this project because of its complexity. So
yeah, sure, I got that. And so I think this will be a good segue too, since we're going into our first kind of break and promoting the show and ourselves, that we're going to do a follow-up episode in October with the founder of Cleveland Blocks. He's just a local person in Cleveland, and he's a big Cardano influencer and enthusiast. So what I would like to do, Edgar, since you're watching, is let's talk with you and him. His name is Damon Ramsey, and do a follow-up Cardano and invite that community to do that. And do a follow-up and tell us more about the project.
Yeah, because I think it's a very interesting project.
Patrick just sent me a tweet, so I got to check it out, obviously, and see what it means. Some hidden message from him. And you're going to fix your
camera again?
And we're going to talk about Mannabase. So,
yes.
Mannabase is the cryptocurrency that looks to provide universal basic income for people. It is the first and only blockchain that is owned and operated by a legal 501c3 nonprofit. And oh man, Patrick, you're killing me. Patrick is in here in our chat room on our live stream putting bashing tweets in for Charles Hoskinson. Only Bitcoin maximalists act like this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just kidding, Patrick. Patrick is a live simulcaster on the steaming pile, and he was the person I talked about earlier with the Bitcoin ATMs. Patrick, you'll on our link slide, you can get the link to our slideshow in the description for our episodes, and there's a link in there around the rise of Bitcoin ATMs, kind of picking back up. So.
Yeah, you can actually print out those slides, Patrick, and draw mustaches on Charles and Jeremy.
and then before you get started on Manna, Chaz, is we're going to be doing an episode on the steaming pile the end of the month, where we're going to be covering universal basic income as a topic. So I would definitely invite you to be on that show as well. It'll be at 9:25 at 9:30 p.m. So you and your producer might have to stay up late that night.
Yeah, well, this guy will have no problem with that because he's like sleeping right now.
So that's yeah, so that'll be fun. And so maybe we'll be able to get the guys from Mannabase and potentially Steam Basic Income to come on this show as well that week.
Yeah, that'd be excellent.
Do a little universal basic income crazy cross promotion. Patrick said, haha, he had to go for the low-hanging fruit with the Charles Hoskinson tweet. I'm going to bring it up here, but why don't you go ahead and tell people about your experience with Mannabase so far.
So here I posted my screenshot. One thought that occurred to me on this was that as I look at this, I'm up to 122 Manna, almost 123, and it's at 0.173 of a dollar.
Uh-huh.
What if this thing goes to $1? I have 122 bucks. So I just that occurred to me that eventually the value will increase. I'm pretty sure, and I think I'm having camera problems here big time. Okay, and so at this point in the game, I have 2 referrals, people who signed up under me, and they have given me an extra 100% for each person. There's no money I had to put into this. All I had to do was sign up, get verified, and I started receiving deposits.
Right.
So I encourage other people. We got 2 links up there at the top, one for me and one for John. Pick your favorite hosts, and the guy with the headphones. Sign up with the links there and get verified and then receive Manna.
Yeah, no, in all honesty, please pick Chaz and sign up under him, because then I'll stop sending him steam for helping me produce content for the show.
I knew there was an angle on that.
Once his universal basic income gets high enough, I'll stop having to send him steam. So everyone sign up on Chaz's link.
Please do it. Get John off the hook.
And the links are in the description, so they'll be on the description for DLive. I think you have to copy and paste. I don't know if they're active. And then they're definitely live on the Steemit and SteamPeak front ends. And then I'm not sure on Busy. I don't think they are on Busy, but it is what it is. Cool, thanks. I'm going to exit out of here, and we're going to have a little fun on, excuse me, we're going to have a little fun with Patrick's tweet. So I just got to exit out of the slideshow and bring that tweet over here. And we're going to read through this because this is kind of funny, actually. So come on, internet. Don't fail me now. Bringing the page over stopped like halfway through. I have this floating window
I think we have bandwidth problems.
I think we do. I shouldn't, but I tell you, ever since they switched from, this is a problem if you don't pay for business bandwidth, which is grossly expensive, they throttle you, right?
Yeah.
They don't care.
No,
There's
we
no
don't.
because most users do not have heavy use, and that's another way that they look for, people that might be doing nefarious things. You're not even supposed to mine. The cable companies don't even want you to mine unless you have the business account for your internet. So this is still floating. Now it's interesting. My mouse isn't working at all. So
We need
come on. Uh-oh, someone's coming to join us. We're gonna have
All
to
right.
get rid of our little TV overlay over here.
We got a non-video participant.
That's all right. Who just joined? Oh, they're gone. They just wanted to test it out.
Yeah. Does it work?
Let's see if it worked. All right. So guess what? I have no control over the slides right now until my internet decides to catch up. So we're stuck on camera.
We are. So
At
I
least
can
our camera's not stuck. Anyone seeing? I can't even get to the D-Live chat.
It's awesome.
Oh man. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know if anyone else can.
It's all right. I hit the old task manager to see if we could align our tasks and get rid of some stuff that's in the background. So, okay, we're going to try this one more time. I think I got my slides here. This has been one hell of a broadcast.
It's a challenge. It's been a challenge, really.
Your camera's froze again. My mouse is froze, or my trackpad's froze. We're not going to try to bring in the tweet. So after all that, here, maybe this will work. After all that, thanks for hanging with us, guys. I hope you're commenting in chat so that I can read those soon and really have a laugh. So here's a Twitter. It says MetaMask, could you please reach out to support at MetaMask.io? So obviously this must be a question coming from Charles. It says you're telling the CEO of IOHK, founder of Cardano and Ethereum, to use the support email. Just wanted to talk to someone about the Chrome delisting. Uh-oh. So he did the I think it's coming up here. Take it easy on the social media person. It's probably an intern or something. He said, we'll be sure to return the favor if they ever have questions about Daedalus, Zencash, Ethereum Classic, Cardano, or other projects they're working on. And you see, goodness gracious, throughout the, do you know who I am? So I'm sure there's more, but I can't risk losing the slides. So we got to go back to them. Oh, and I wasn't even on the scene where they could see the page. Guys, this is a comedy of errors. I'm surprised. You guys can take all your upvotes back, or let me know that you want them back. So that's Manna. We got a couple more slides for today's episode. I know we're running a little long. We had that good video description in the beginning. We're doing the CCI 30.
Yeah, I thought we'd take a look at it and see how the.
Is this from after yesterday's crash?
This is this morning.
Oh, this is brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's going down and down.
11 for 52 weeks. It's down 11%. Year to date, down 75, almost 74%.
Excuse me. Yep.
And then our month to date change is down almost 12.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it like this since I would say last spring.
Yeah. But, keep in mind, it's 30 different tokens that are represented here.
That's true. That's true. Your camera's off. It's the 30 different tokens represented, and also the there's still there's more money coming in. It's just not reflected in the trading price.
Right, right.
So,
And one thing I wanted to mention here was that Cardano is like number 9 on the list for this capitalization in this index. So they're right up there at near the top.
okay.
But yeah, it's been a little rough. If we go back and look at all the predictions that have been made regarding the coins and what people during the beginning of the year and mid-year thought they were going to do, I'm sure that they're backing away from that. McAfee certainly is backing away from his predictions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I like the guy, but he's a big mouth.
Yeah, I know. Well, guys like that tend to be brash and outspoken.
Yeah.
But you got to have some basis for what you're saying.
That's what I was going to say. So it's like they think they know. I would much rather have the person who bases it on evidence and makes a prediction, but still kind of keeps it like, but you never know. And McAfee doesn't come across that way. He comes across as definitive. This is how it's going to be. Da 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 da. And I know that I know confidence sells, and you got to drive people and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Patrick said, "Bring me McAfee's balls." I don't know what that means. I'm not gonna do that.
He made a prediction. McAfee said that he would Bitcoin would be, I think he said, $1 million by the end of the year, or he'd eat his dick.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah.
What? And there's some people out there that are just, oh, am I over here? Am I over here?
Yeah,
that are just like out there, man. They're crazy.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to eat something after this, but
I don't even want to think about that.
I know, that's a picture you probably won't be able to get out of your mind for a while.
All right, so let's go see how many people are watching live, according to @officialdlive on Twitter. 17. There's 17 people. My guess is that all of them have heard of Coinbase, but some of them may have not, or people that are watching the recorded VOD version on YouTube might not as well. So, if you haven't and you need a place to buy crypto, you can click on one of those links. If you purchase $100 worth of digital tokens for yourself, the hosts whose link you chose will get $10 in Bitcoin for free, and so will you. So you put in 100, you get 110, and 10 will go to the host of your choice. Those links are in the bottom of the description.
Yes, don't be the last one into the crypto market.
Please do your part to help raise the price back up to where we all know it can go, and so that John McAfee does not have to do anything below the belt.
Which he probably wouldn't do anyway, right?
All right, so tell us about this team. They look professional. They look like a bunch of thoroughbreds in here.
So Charles and Jeremy are both co-founders of Ethereum. The gentleman at the bottom there, the Greek gentleman, Angelos, he is a very well-spoken man as well. I watched some videos that he has done regarding the project, but these people have backgrounds. They're real people. They exist, and they're actually doing things, and they're not just a bunch of hot air. Although I think somebody watching now would disagree with that. I think that these guys got something going for them, and I'm anxious to see how they come through.
Okay, gotcha. Why is there? So, is Input Output the name of the company that owns Cardano? I know that there are 3 partners.
Yeah, that's one of the partners.
Okay.
Is it IHKO? Is that?
No, the slide says Input Output. as for the
Yeah,
team
that's one of the partners. And so
Okay.
you can go to any of these websites and look at them. I just happened to get this one off of this particular website.
Got it. Got it. Patrick, who banned you? Coinbase must have banned them. Says they're not the biggest fans of ATM operators. Yeah, because right. I got you. Centralized distribution networks like to have their people stay in house. Impolius, I hope that's how we say your name. Thank you very much for the upvote. We appreciate you tuning in. Are these guys? Oh, look, they're on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. And what's the pencil icon for that one?
I have no idea.
Whatever, Charles.
I'm telling you, I struggled with this one. This one was tough.
But they're all on LinkedIn.
And if you go to YouTube, the videos are all over the place, as well as their website.
And just for those of you who are just tuning in, for all of the episodes, you can go to the Today's Slides link, either on Steemit or SteamPeak, or you can copy and paste it from the Today's Slides piece on the DLive platform, and you'll be able to get the links for today's show and see all the links to the different Cardano videos that we included, and then the links for Mannabase and Coinbase like we talked about. So right now we're doing a little technical analysis. We're looking at the Cardano slide.
Yeah, the green is the price USD, and the yellow or orange is the Bitcoin price. But you could say that, as many of the ICOs do, they had a peak and then sort of fell off afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like the rest of the crypto world, they're just sort of marking time in their place at the moment.
Yeah, doing work on the back end, trying to stay relevant, continue to build their base up, and see what happens.
Yeah. I'm strongly considering putting some money into this project because I think that it's a worthwhile project.
Oh, really? So I handed you to Cardano, and now you like them?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, well, if you reap any rewards, just remember me over here on the Steem blockchain.
I will.
John Spalding, and fix your camera so we can do a good, healthy goodbye.
Yeah.
But
So
not
remember,
without talking about the Acorn Collective and the 19 South project.
yeah, I really need the Steam community to step up to the plate here and just use that email address at the lower right and just send some positive feedback. It doesn't cost you anything to do that, but so far I've only gotten 2 comments after contacting well over 200 people. So I don't know if people are just busy, they don't understand the project, or if they just don't feel it's worthwhile. But this funding for this project is going to help the careers of many filmmakers. So
all right, so then they need to follow that project feedback at 8megapixels-project at aco.ai.
Yeah, if they could just leave some feedback and say, hey, it looks like a great project, because we're coming up to the end of the year here, and we're going to go live on the funding if I get enough good feedback on this.
All right, sounds good, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. Hold on 1 second. I just got to check something. Need to make sure that at SG Endeavors, who's also on the Steem blockchain, is not also need this Zoom room, which we're using to broadcast and hold conversations. So I know I've given feedback on there. For those of you guys out there, go ahead and give feedback for this project or ask questions to them. Chaz, I would also, if I were you, there's a pimp your post. I would write up another post on it, and clearly put in the name and the stuff like that, and then have an actual link to give the feedback, and go on. Are you on Discord?
I believe I am, yes.
So if you're on Discord, there is let me find them here. It's the Steam at Ramble Discord, and on Steam at Ramble, there's another Thursday morning kind of radio show, and it is, I think it's called Pimp Your Post Thursday. And so I would release another post this weekend with some clear information on what the community needs to do that, and then go on to Pimp Your Post Thursday. They either have one at 11 a.m. or 7 p.m., and you'll be able to talk about your project and get some live feedback from people and be able to do your ask of them as well. And then they help to curate stuff like that and do links and send that stuff out.
Okay, cool.
And Edgar said the supply for Cardano is large, so it will be harder to make 10 times the price. So they're looking at just being a strong blockchain and solving the interoperability, sustainability, scalability problems, reviewing the papers, having the different epics of their layer breakdown, and not necessarily going to the moon.
Right. Well, again, in my world, where I came from, the financial world, 30% was, barnstorming. It was just outstanding if you could do 30%.
Right.
On a regular basis. And so 10 times, I'm not too worried about 10 times. The reality of investing is, that you're not probably going to get that every time. It's just, and think of the people who bought Bitcoin at 20,000.
Yeah. Yeah. They're very angry people right now.
Yeah. So we just got to be realistic about our returns.
Excuse me. Thanks everyone for your upvotes. D Live, thank you for your upvote. We do appreciate that. We are changing I am changing the times that we normally do this program. So the D Live 24-hour schedule is going to be a little messed up until I can get a confirmed time as to when Chaz and I can do this with when I have available. But we are going to continue to do it each week. I know it's on a rolling scale. I try to go through all of my Discords and talk with all my people beforehand and let them know when the show's going to be. I communicate with Eric at DLive 24-hour so that we can get it out beforehand. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. You want to give them a sneak preview of what we're doing next week? You know what you're doing next week?
No, I don't. You did mention Stellar the last time.
I did mention Stellar.
Yeah, so I thought I might take a look at that one.
All right, so we're going to look at Stellar, and then we'll look into doing a possible SMT special episode as well. And then I know we're going to try to do a universal basic income and have the Mannabase folks come on with the Steam basic income folks towards the end of the month, around the 24th, the week of the 24th. But thanks everyone for tuning in. We're just kind of wrapping up. There's a space above Chaz where if you guys have a Steam related project, or if you guys have some people that are doing some advertising for their SMT, or they want to get some other promotional efforts for their project on the Steam blockchain, have them contact Chaz or myself, and we will we'll do a custom slide for them and have their logo up above Chaz's head for a very reasonable barter of Steam.
Yes, very reasonable. I'm done messing with this camera. I am
okay.
sick.
Chaz is done messing with the camera. We've been going for a little while. You guys get to now listen to Chaz, but have his mouth not move, so that should be fun as we exit. But thanks everyone for tuning in and everyone for your upvotes. We really appreciate it. This is Morning Coins with John and Chaz, episode 23, and we will see you next week.
Next week we'll be here.
Now you get to enjoy the outro song from Happy Rock from dissecting.com. See you guys.
Yeah, bye-bye.